Welcome to episode 104 of the 4Ps, and this time we're back inside our phone booth here in the Revelation office because, well, I just didn't leave myself enough time to record in the acoustically perfect car this morning before getting on the train for work. You know, ever since the Super Bowl and I was awake past 10 p.m. on Sunday night, I've been exhausted and struggling in the mornings, just barely leaving myself enough time to make the train. So while the lighting in here may be slightly better than the car recording at 6 a.m., that's not always a good thing when you look like me. After more than a year of discussion, campaigning, organizing, and planning, and punditry, the Iowa caucuses were a political mess this week. When everyone went to bed Monday night, there was no winner. And when people woke up again on Tuesday, there was no winner. That was the only consensus. And while the polls prove that people are motivated to beat Donald Trump in the general election, no one can agree on the best way to do that right now. And the clear loser? The Iowa caucuses. They've just cemented their own irrelevance forever. The good news, most of America has ignored the Iowa caucuses for decades anyway, and the only people who still cared were people in Iowa and the candidates and their staffs. This has always been a challenging model, the caucus, and yes, this bad result makes it slightly harder for Democrats to winnow down the field in a line. You know, we're very split between the moderates and the progressives, but the next primary is just a few days away, and caucuses were meant to test early organizing capabilities of campaigns. So this is not nearly as bad as everyone seems to be talking about. But the lack of initial results doesn't necessarily harm our democracy, nor does it empower Trump. The crooked Senate is doing that by failing to have a fair trial with witnesses. But New Hampshire, if you mess this up, we may have a problem. There was like a 5-year period where I spent, 85% of my waking moments thinking about and talking about, testing, and sometimes trying to break the Facebook algorithm. Now, I know I'm not the only one, but once Facebook transformed into a paid media platform for brand advertisers, we kind of forgot all about their algorithm. Now, according to Hootsuite, in late 2019, average reach for Facebook posts was down by 2.2%, meaning that brands could only reasonably expect their posts to be seen now by about 5% of pages' followers. Big brands with massive following counts can expect even lower organic averages. Believe it or not, there are brands who don't want to shell out dollars to turn every single Facebook post into an ad. Well, I know it surprises me too. Facebook says it is committed to making its platform more transparent for users, giving people more direct control over what they see and helping them understand the algorithm and take control of the signals, right, for just giving it better feedback. But brands are not in control. And there are still some things that they can and should be doing, though, when it comes to designing a holistic content strategy. Post content that gets people to engage with each other. Publish the content when your audience is actually on the site, because recency matters again. And lengthy videos on Facebook, over 3 minutes long or higher, and higher quality, that actually matters, which can be challenging when the other platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter are optimized for shorter video. But as always, supporting content with paid media is the only way to ensure that your content remains constant. A few weeks ago, after an in-person renewal of my TSA pre-check, I realized that I no longer had or could find my Social Security card. Also a few weeks ago, I noticed that the expiration dates on both my driver's license and passport were due to hit and arrive kind of in the middle of this year. What's more, with the new Real ID driver's license requirements now in place for any even domestic travel, both of these renewals require in-person visits to government facilities. Even having made an online reservation with the DMV, I am dreading my spot there. I mean, in the age of digital technology and innovation, and in the season of flu, there has to be a better way. Virtual and digital registration, maybe? I don't know, swab some cheek cells to prove it's your DNA and send it out. Facial recognition from scan, photo, video. I don't know. There's so many digital tricks to make this easier. Or maybe that's the point. With identity theft and digital hacking, cyber warfare, and server breaches, maybe the IRL requirements are even more important than ever. Show up. I'm not sure why election security and Democratic primary caucuses aren't taking this as seriously, to be honest, but since our democracy is now basically dead anyway, having that passport will be extra important if we ever decide to flee the reign of Trumpian second-term terror. Everyone has, or should have, their own organizational method for staying on top of things. But there are often layers of multidimensional factors that make prioritization of time and tasks a challenge. For the past 7 or 8 years, across multiple roles and companies, I've been using a matrix model that looks at things in 4 quadrants. Yes, I know, 4, right? But it's really like an XY axis that looks at things by urgency and importance. So in your upper left box is urgent and highly important things, the stuff you have to do now. Then next to it, upper right, then there's the urgent but less important stuff in that top area. Then, below that, lower left, is important but not as urgent, and then not urgent and less important in the lower right, like longer term, higher level planning. So urgency and importance, create your 4 box. I print mine out as actual piece of paper once a week, and you'll use that to basically keep all my notes as a to-do list. I update handwritten inputs, things I've crossed out on Sunday nights or Monday morning, and it's usually the only thing I print out each week. I'm mindful of the environment. It's super helpful for me to keep track of things of varying degrees, of so many things coming in all the time, without losing sight of what really matters and when it matters.